You know the feeling, right? You walk into that one friend's place and it's just perfect. There are no dishes in the sink, no random clutter on the counters, not even a stray pile of clothes. And you just can't help but wonder,
Seriously, how do they pull this off every single day? It's not about having more free time, and it's definitely not because they have some secret passion for scrubbing floors. The truth is, this whole habit, it's not really about cleanliness at all. It's about psychology. It's about what an organized space actually does for our minds.
see, a clean space isn't about being perfect. It's actually a tool. When your room is messy, your mind feels messy too. Your brain is literally looking at every single out-of-place thing and logging it as an unfinished task. But when your environment is in order, your brain can finally take a breath. You can think more clearly, you feel calmer, and suddenly you've got more energy for the stuff that actually matters. So why exactly does a messy room feel so draining? Well, to figure that out, we've got to look at a little bit of neuroscience. The answer is all in how our brains are wired to deal with the world around us. It all boils down to this thing called cognitive load. Basically, your brain is constantly scanning and processing everything in your environment. Every single object, every pile of mail, every dish in the sink, it's all competing for your attention, even if you don't consciously realize it. And that process quietly sucks your mental energy dry all day long.
And hey, this isn't just a hunch. This is backed by some serious research. A pretty famous study from Princeton University found that physical clutter literally overloads your brain's visual cortex. It makes it harder for your brain to process information, which leaves you feeling less sharp, less focused, and just mentally exhausted.
And that mental strain, it actually turns into a physical thing. Research has shown that people who describe their homes as cluttered or full of unfinished projects tend to have higher levels of cortisol, yep, the stress hormone, coursing through their bodies all day. So that messy environment might be the very thing that's quietly stressing you out. Okay, so if clutter is so stressful, why do we let it happen? Well, it's because there's a much deeper psychological need at play here. Our fundamental human need for a sense of control. I mean, let's be real. Most of life is totally unpredictable. We can't control the huge things happening out in the world. We can't control what our boss is going to say, and we sure can't control what other people do. And for a lot of us, that lack of control creates this quiet, constant hum of anxiety in the background. But your home, that's a different story. That you can control. The state of your desk, whether or not your bed is made, those things are completely in your power. When someone tidies their space every day, what they're really doing is creating a small, personal world where things make sense, where everything is organized, and where they can feel safe. And here's the key. Psychologists have a name for this. It's called an internal locus of control. Every time you take action and bring order to your environment, you're sending a powerful signal to your nervous system that says, I'm in charge here, I can handle this. It's such a simple way to reinforce your own sense of agency and dial down that background anxiety. This whole idea of control brings us to our next point. For a lot of people, cleaning stops being just a chore and actually becomes a powerful tool for managing emotions. It's almost like a form of active therapy. Think about it for a second. Have you ever felt super stressed or anxious and suddenly got the urge to reorganize a closet? That is not random. It's a psychological process called behavioral activation. When you're anxious and you're just sitting there, your nervous system kind of stays stuck. But when you get up and do something physical and repetitive, like wiping a counter or folding laundry, you give all that nervous energy an outlet. The external order you're creating starts to create internal order. But this all builds to something even deeper. The most powerful shift of all happens when cleaning stops being something you do and becomes part of who you are. This right here, this is the real secret. The people who keep a clean house every day aren't just forcing themselves through it with sheer willpower. At some point, they stopped thinking, ugh, I have to clean, and started believing I am the type of person who keeps a clean house. As soon as that identity shifts, the action becomes almost automatic. It makes sense, right? We all naturally act in ways that line up with who we believe we are. And here's the best part. Your identity isn't set in stone. It's built on evidence. Every single time you wipe down that counter after dinner, you're casting a vote for being the type of person who takes care of their space. Do it enough times, and your brain has no choice but to start seeing you that way. Okay, so this all sounds great, but how do we actually start building that evidence? I want to leave you with a few super practical steps to connect your space to a calmer mind without having to wait for some huge burst of motivation to strike.
First, just shrink the start. Don't even think about cleaning the whole house. Just focus on wiping down one counter. That's it. Second, habit stack. Attach that tiny new habit to something you already do every day. Maybe you wipe the sink right after you brush your teeth. And third, you have to make it enjoyable. Put on your favorite music, listen to a podcast, turn it into a little ritual you can actually look forward to, not some chore you have to dread.
Because here's the most important takeaway from all of this. Your home is not just the place where you live. It is a physical expression of your standards. It's a daily message you send to yourself about what you believe you deserve. An ordered, cared-for space sends a message of calm, of respect, and of control.
So I'll just leave you with this one question. When you look around your space right now, what's the message it's sending? What is your home telling you?